This is Beach Talk Radio.
Good morning, Mr. and Mrs. America, and all ships at sea. This is your captain speaking, Mean Gene. Mean Gene. The following will be a test of the ship's whistle, the sonar alarm, the cable alarm, and the atomic attack alarm.
Ladies and gentlemen, broadcasting live 100 feet from the Gulf of America. Here are your award-winning social media superstars, the hosts of Beach Talk Radio, Kim and Ed Ryan.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. For those of you in the back that have no idea what's going on, we do a Sunday show here with the mayor. We've been doing it for, 3 years now, Dan. We've been doing it every Sunday here with the mayor. We talk about all the issues going on here on Fort Myers Beach. Today we have also not only the mayor, we have your county representative, so a lot to cover. Kim is not here today because the rule is she either comes to Saturday or Sunday. She doesn't come to both because one day has to be a baby day. So not our baby. Well, it is kind of our baby, but she didn't have the baby. The baby is our dog.
All right, I think if you guys can see us now, are we back on Facebook? I think we're all back on Facebook and YouTube. Dan, come on. All right, well, that was strange. If you were watching on Facebook, there was a power surge here, and we lost power for a second. We are back on, and the mayor is going to come up. I don't know what I was talking about before we lost the power, but what I was saying was, thank you. That's Joy. Sorry, jerk. Kim is not here because she came yesterday. She's not here today. It's a 1 day a weekend thing because we do a Friday show in Cape Coral. So it's me and Dan today, and Joy from the Community Foundation and other organizations, but representing the Community Foundation, is here, and she said she needed a few minutes before we started.
Just real quickly, I wanted to let everyone know that we did have a celebrity pickleball match yesterday. It was extremely exciting. We had Mayor Dan and Town Manager Will, and of course our celebrities here, Ed and Kim Ryan. And I didn't want them to forget about the experience. So,
by the way, who won that?
It was best 2 out of 3, and it was tied up, and then you all smashed them.
Can I just can I
Did you
just
hear
say
that?
can I
you
just
got
say one-
headphones on. You probably didn't hear that.
I heard it. I heard it. Can I just say I don't know if anybody watched the match yesterday, but we totally dominated the first game. Like it was like 11. It took 30 minutes, but it was like 11-5, I think, right? 11-5 or 11-6.
Well, have you ever watched the dolphins swim in the back bay when they play with their snook? They play with their food. That's what the first match was. We were just playing with our food. The Lions were going to come out in the second and third game, as you saw.
So we won the first game, and now I start trash talking, of course, because I'm very competitive, and I'm a wicked sore loser. There's those two things are bad.
It didn't show at all.
And that's why team sports are never good for me. I like to do individual things like races and Spartan races because then you can only blame yourself. You can't blame somebody else. And I wasn't blaming anybody else yesterday, believe me.
Oh, I bet audio will tell a different story.
It was all my fault yesterday.
So,
The
So
net
can I
was too
finish my story,
tall.
Joey?
No,
Come on,
no.
let me finish my
all right,
story. So we win the first game, and then the second game was a little bit close, but the third game we got hammered 11-1, and we were yelling at each other, and it was just the reason we lost was because as the second game started, Dan realized that if he could get up to the net, he could consistently smash my wife in the face with the ball, and there's nothing that she could do about it. And that was his strategy. He just waited to the second game to do it. Right?
It couldn't be superior
The reason she's not-
athleticism. It couldn't be that.
Yes, because you look like an athlete.
well, we
So-
won.
So she's at home with an
Hey,
ice.
John Daly doesn't look like an athlete, but he can kick our butts in golf.
She looks like she has hickeys all over her neck because she got hit with a pickleball. So she's at home with ice packs all over her.
Well, we couldn't hit it to you because you would tumble like this.
You know
You would
what?
just fall right over with your what do you call the psychotica? What is it?
Sciatica.
Oh,
So, in your mind, everybody, you're still 30 years old and you're competitive.
Yeah.
But when you're 60, your body is not cooperating with your mind. It's such a slap of reality when that happens. Like bending over to hit the ball is not as easy as it was.
yeah. There was a few moments where I'm like, my brain is telling my feet to move, and the ball's already gone. You're like,
Yes.
well, it's just a little slower than it used to be.
Before Joy gives you whatever she's going to give you, Kim actually spent a long time making these awards for you and Will.
There's Will's.
Nice
yeah.
medals for
Look at
you
that.
and Will. She's not a sore loser,
Well-
so we're going to give you those
Well-
medals.
Well, Will, if you're watching, it says Will McCanny, pickleball champion. On the back, it says female 70 to 74, second place.
These are leftover medals from the race.
So I'm curious what I am. So Will's a 70 to 74-year-old female. I'm a male 20 to 24th. Now, that's accurate.
You were moving like a 24-year-old yesterday, that's
yeah,
for sure.
well, yeah.
All right. Joy,
With no
why are you
work.
here, Joy?
Well, I just wanted to make sure that you didn't forget about the experience. So I am going to gift you these sleeping T-shirts because they're huge. So I have one for you, one for Kim, one for Dan, and one for Will. And I also have.
I'll hold that for you.
Thank you.
Yep. We love
I
free
have,
stuff.
Cooling towels.
All right. Very nice.
So also has the logo.
Very cool.
So please, thank you so much. You all
Oh, thank
made
you.
it a really fun event.
Yeah.
And a lot of people came out to cheer. And actually a lot of folks were online watching.
Yes. Yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Very
Thank you
good.
very much, Joy. And we appreciate the Community Foundation and everything you guys do. It's a lot of fun, and you guys do great things.
Did
for
you
the
raise some
community.
good money?
Yeah, we mostly it's for bringing people together. Okay.
Yes.
That's our goal. But I'm not exactly sure what the total is. It's maybe around $4,000.
That's better than a kick in the you know what. So yeah.
So if someone that's paying attention now that wasn't able to watch wants to donate, how do they donate to the Community Foundation?
You can go to fmbcommunityfoundation.com.
Yeah, and you can become a member. There are all these different organizations on the beach.
Yeah.
I mean, the least everybody could do is just become a member, and sometimes you might want to volunteer, and then you're a member. You're on the
Well, I
list.
think that's the biggest thing,
Yeah.
being involved with a lot of volunteer stuff on the island. It's not always about the money. It's about being available.
Right.
In the NFL, they say availability is the best
Right.
ability. And it's the same thing with these volunteer groups, being
Yeah.
available to help with setting things up, taking
Yes.
things down, organizing, doing the Sherpa work, the
Yep.
leg work
Right.
is more important sometimes than money.
Yep.
We do have a casino night coming up in April.
Mhm.
I think it's April 11th.
Margaritaville.
At Margaritaville. So it's going to be a fun event and another opportunity to raise some funds.
All right. Your mom's yelling at me about what I was saying on the microphone yesterday.
But
I wasn't clean when I don't know if anybody watched that yesterday. I was dropping the F-bomb like
Oh, were you?
yeah. Well, when we were winning, when we were losing, I was just crying like a little girl.
You were a little bit.
Oh,
like a
you mean
baby.
from the pickleball tournament?
Yeah, we were
I
mic'd up
hadn't
in the
heard-
whole
I didn't
thing.
hear the audio yet.
Well,
but-
whatever you were saying was being broadcast, and whatever I was saying, the two of us together.
I
So,
forgot I even had it on.
yeah. All right. Well,
All
thank
right,
you, Joy.
thanks.
Thanks to
Joy.
the Community Foundation. Big hand for Joy, everybody. It's a lot of work putting on these events, and it's a lot of time. They're there from 7 o'clock until 3 o'clock in the afternoon pulling it off. And today's show, by the way, is sponsored by Mom's Home Cooking, which is located over across from Town Hall on Estero Boulevard. It's also sponsored by the
Third
UPS
place.
store in Santini Plaza and Oscar by the Gulf. So check out. We'll tell you more about those guys later on in the show. So grab the microphone, David. Yeah, somebody lost their wedding ring. I think this is probably a dude's ring, right? But it's a very big ring, and I don't know. Jamie thinks it's actually real gold. So it was found outside of Wahoo Willie's. We'll take a picture of it and put it on Facebook. But if you were out late last night and decide, well, maybe he had a fight with his wife and he put it there on purpose. I mean, that kind of thing can happen too.
Well,
so.
you're assuming it's a he.
Well, that's true. I shouldn't assume that anymore. So David Mulicka is here, everybody. You're a Lee County representative.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good morning, Ed.
Dan, take it away. What's your first question, Dan?
How are you liking the commissioner seat now that you've been in there for a little bit?
I'll tell you what I do. Thank you, Mayor. I was just looking back. It was June of 23 that I filed for this campaign. So almost a 3-year journey to get to where we are right now. But I will tell you, I truly love serving, and you can really help a lot of people in this position as county commissioner, and the subjects we get to be involved in and help with are very rewarding. And when the phone rings, you get to help a lot of good people. And
You certainly try,
do,
right?
I do. I do enjoy the position. So thank you for helping me earn this seat.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's a big job. You know, being a public servant is a very tough job. How long did it take for you to realize? Because I think we're similar when it comes to we want to help everybody as much as we can. How long did it take for you to realize I can't help everybody and I don't have the yes answer for everybody?
I don't think I'm there yet. I still have that hope for gain.
Spoken like a true politician.
All right. So obviously the biggest, let's go with the biggest question. The question that people ask about the most on Fort Myers Beach, and probably people that visit Fort Myers Beach, is the pier.
Mhm.
And I know part of the issue has been the Army Corps of Engineers. The county is ready to go. It's the same problem that Cape Coral is having. They can't start their pier at the yacht club because the Army Corps of Engineers hasn't issued any permits. So where are we with the pier?
So on a positive note, when the day I got sworn in, the first thing I asked for was bring me everything there is to know about the pier, because I wanted to see what we could do to accelerate that project. And in my opinion, growing up here, this is the Chamber of Commerce postcard, Eiffel Tower landmark of Lee County that we've all cherished for many years and generations. So I have fond memories of that. So I wanted to do everything I could to will that to happen, to move forward. And we were this close last fall to being out. We should be under construction right now if the federal government shutdown had not happened last fall, because the only thing that we are waiting for to start construction on that pier is the Army Corps permit and coordination with FEMA, because FEMA has to reimburse us for the original $6 million or so worth of construction, and the Army Corps permit had to coordinate. So the word coordinate in federal government means don't talk to each other, and we'll get to it later, evidently. But right now, the only thing we are waiting for is that final step of coordination between FEMA and the Army Corps. The minute that drops into our laps here, hopefully near future, we are then the contractor that we've already selected and we've already bid the job. We already have a contractor ready to tee up to do the work, and then that contractor will just have to apply to Dan, and I'm sure he'll have that permit issued quickly here at the town for them to proceed. While they're ready to move in here, before they get here, they'll have a permit ready to go, and they'll be building that pier.
So you made a statement about when you thought it would open last time you were here, but that was based on thinking you'd get the permits, which you don't have. So when will the pier be open?
12 months after the core permits is issued.
So the pier will take 1 year to build, and you basically have no idea when you're going to get the permits. Is that true?
Yes.
So
I'm just being honest, right? We're not robots in this business. As quick as we get the federal permit, and we have Stantec Engineering, who's a great firm, our staff coordinating. Our federal lobbyists are all working on this permit.
We have a guy that's our representative that will probably be the next governor. We have Rick Scott, who is great to this area. Nobody can do anything about these permits. Nobody in a position of power.
Well, you got to remember part of it. DHS is shut down right now.
So what does DHS has to do with the Army Corps?
DHS.
But what does that have to do with the Army Corps? They can't issue the permits because
one half can't do anything without the other. They both halves have to agree. So all of these shutdowns and all of these shenanigans right now in the federal government are not helping any of these things.
So are you saying we can't get permits because of this partial shutdown? Is that
yes?
Okay, so we could get the permit.
They were slow before we shut down. Okay, I'm not saying it was ever easy, but when you're at a full stop and then they have an excuse to be slow, when to ramp back up again is not helping. I'm just telling you the truth.
Right. No, it's not your fault, obviously, but could it be a year before you get the permits? Could it be 2 years before we get the permits?
Yes.
It could be. Holy moly. Wow.
I hope
so
not. I hope it's 2 weeks.
Well, I think, I would encourage anyone to write your congressman, write your senator, write anybody you can write in the federal government to ask to help move this along.
We wrote a joint letter resolution as the county commissioners. The town joined into that. We wrote it to Ashley Moody. We wrote it to Rick Scott. We wrote it to the governor. We wrote it to the president. I mean,
let me ask you this. I know it's not anybody's fault at the local level, but how do you build a bridge in 3 days and you can't get a permit in 4 years? I mean, how does that make any sense? They built the Sanibel Bridge because they wanted to. Like somebody did something.
They didn't have to wait for the permit.
They didn't have to wait for. Why didn't they not have to wait for a permit?
Declaration of emergency.
All right. Well, I guess the pier's not.
It was a life safety issue too.
All right.
Yeah.
Fair enough. I mean, okay.
And I think people need to
And
understand.
the governor paid cash.
Wow. He took it right out of his wife's
reserves.
budget, right? Oh, out of the reserves.
But because we're a fiscally conservative state, we had the money in the bank
I got you.
to front that project. So
Oh, okay. That's different. Difference doesn't.
Yeah, and I think that
Not apples
that
and
project
apples.
was a life safety issue too. They had to. I mean, there were people stuck on the island they couldn't get to without a road. Other than
All right,
by
so-
boat or helicopter.
So on the pier, there's a to be determined. We have no idea, but 12 months after the permits are issued.
yes.
Okay, fair.
So
Next topic, Dan.
And before we move on,
Go ahead.
because I've had questions about, well, why can't they start taking the old pilings out? I'm assuming, maybe you could add some clarification to this, that you can't start taking it down because it's probably encompassed in the same permit, the destruction before the construction.
Well, to get in the weeds a little bit, technically the DEP would allow us to remove the old pilings right now. We have the permission to do that, but to the cost of mobilization to set the guys up, to move the barges in, and then maybe come back next month, next year to start the construction would probably add
Makes
$100
sense.
grand to not really be that much farther ahead.
No,
But I did ask that same question.
All right.
So
Well,
Thanks
thank you for
I
the
was
update.
asking- yeah, that's a good
Now,
clarification.
just for clarification, when the pier is finally built, are you allowed to fish off it?
absolutely.
Okay, I swear I
That's
remember
what it's
Brian
being designed
Hammond.
for.
But I swear I remember Brian Hammond telling me, I could be wrong because, I'm on gabapentin or whatever it is, and you get dementia from it. But he said you can't.
Psychotica.
But he said you can't fish. You're not allowed to fish. Am I misunderstanding that? Like you're not allowed.
I think you might be misremembering.
Okay, all right,
Um,
all right. I'm gonna
I
have
think
to
in
go
the
back.
design, isn't there actually fish carving tables?
Yeah,
in
the
the
whole
design?
thing is set up to walk and fish.
Oh, you
Now,
know what it is? It's the South End Bridge. Maybe it has. You can't fish off that bridge now, can
The
you?
big
'Cause it's too
Carlos
high.
Pass Bridge is probably not a fishing
All right, maybe
bridge
that's what it was.
because it's so much higher over the.
I don't want to misquote Brian Hammond. He's running for re-election, and I love
No,
the guy.
Brian's doing a great job.
Yeah, he is. He's
but,
doing great.
But even the new Cape Coral Bridge, as big as it is, we're looking at having some intermediate platforms for fishing on that. So, but this big Carlos just didn't
Okay,
contemplate
gotcha.
fishing pier.
Right,
Fishing
and
off
they
of
were
that.
talking about having the old bridge as part of maybe a fishing pier, but that didn't work out.
No,
No,
I did actually try for that, like the
Yeah.
Skyway Bridge, but it just wasn't.
Yeah.
It's going to
in
be
the
a reef,
cards.
right? They're taking it offshore and
Yeah.
going to make a reef out of it.
All right, so the second topic is the Lynn Hall Park bathrooms. There doesn't seem to be any construction started on that yet. So when does that start?
Actually, some good news on that. I actually coordinated with Dan this week and his team. So the county awarded both Crescent Beach and Lynn Hall contracts on the same meeting last month or the month before to commence construction. And the permit for Lynn Hall bathrooms got caught in between the DEP and the town over our lighting plans for the turtles. So I called Dan, asked him a favor, and said, where are we at with this? The next night he called me and said, your permit's been issued. So we should be giving the notice to proceed to the contractor yesterday or Friday, and they could be here next week.
Oh,
well,
wow.
but I think, but I think it's important to clarify. The favor was, could you look into it? Not could you?
Yeah.
So
Dan doesn't issue permits.
I'm giving Dan all the credit.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
for
no,
Dan
no,
and his team.
Yeah, no. So yeah,
Sorry, Dan. I was trying to give you be
no,
generous.
that I appreciate it, but there are people that watch this show that seem to think that when you say the word favor, that all of a sudden things happen, but that's not how it works. So the catch up, just so people understand, was between the DEP and the town, and it came to the height of the poles, and to Commissioner Mulicka's point, what do the poles have to do with the foundation, or what do the poles have to do with building? You can work out what the height of the light poles need to be between the two departments.
9 months from now, we'll get to the light poles. 9 days from now, we want to dig footers.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to hold up construction for something that can get worked out over the next 9 months.
So how long is that construction going to take before the bathrooms can be opened up? And
I think that one's around a 12-month
right,
build as well. But some other good news on that project. The new bathrooms are, I don't know if everybody knows this, but they're going to be elevated.
Yes.
So it looks like a still house bathroom, but that you can actually drive through. But with the redesign of that same parking lot in the same park, we're gaining 30% more parking spaces. So we went from 100 to 130 parking spaces with the redesign, which I think is significant. So I wanted to point out that piece of good news to everybody.
Yeah, just so you know, everybody in this room and everybody watching has seen all these pictures. For the bathrooms for Crescent Park, they've seen all those pictures, and for those of you that did,
spring of 27,
they'll be open.
Is what?
So that sounds like
a year. Yes.
Season before next season, around next season.
After next season.
Okay. So before
next year.
Before we ask David the next question, for those of you that don't know, Dan has a drive-through window in his house. You can come right to his house and he'll hand you a permit for whatever you need. That's all you need to do. Find out where he lives and knock on his door.
Like I was
and I have the same one at the county also.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like I was telling Dave before the show, I said, I say it on this show all the time. Unless you know that there's a problem or there's an issue, you can't help with it. Whoa. Explosion.
That's a non-alcoholic drink that just spilled all over.
Well, he was tripping on the yellow shirt. But no, I always tell everybody every week that if you have an issue that you feel that there's something being held up with a permit, let me know. I can look into it. The answer might be that you have forgot something, or your contractor, or whatever. But if we don't know that there is an issue, we can't look into it. But our staff has been great, and the county staff has been great. Whenever we've called and said, "Hey, I've got an issue with this. Can you give me an update?" They could tell us it's held up for this, or it's held up for that, or we need this, or we need that. So,
and sometimes our staff, again, I compliment our county staff the same way. Somebody calls me up, something gets stuck, something got overlooked, and again, half the time when permits are delayed, the submittal from the contractor or the homeowner is not always complete. So no matter how many times you submit it wrong, they can't approve it, right? So both halves have to do their part. But once the staff gets those things lined up to find a path to success, like your team did for us this week, I've had a lot of successes. So if you have that situation anywhere in Lee County, call my office and I'll be happy to look into that to give you that same opportunity.
All right. Before the show, somebody came up to you and asked about something that's on everybody's mind down here, and that's the traffic light over in Times Square. That's a county project, and where are we on that?
So actually, we had a nice visit from the mayor to our commissioner meeting about a month ago. I think it's 2 meetings ago that we finally got the FEMA funding for the light here at Old San Carlos, and we have the contractor selected and hired. They're under contract. They've been issued their notice to proceed. So they had 45 days up to 45 days from that meeting to move forward with this construction. And it was a 90-day contract, so a relatively short-term reconstruction. So if it was 45 days from the end of February, I think that put us around April 10th, 15th. So middle of July, that whole project should be finished here this summer to have the whole new light. And it's other intersection improvements and electrical other upgrades in that intersection as well. So I think you'd be really pleased to finally see this quilt being stitched together between the state, the bridge, Estero Parkway, crosswalks. So good news.
Did anybody come over the bridge from Fort Myers and notice that the alternating lights are alternating again, or did I just have an epileptic episode
Well,
yesterday?
not only that, but the lights on the bridge were on.
No, I saw all those lights. I'm just saying, did they decide? Do you know if they decided to alternate the lights again? I swear that one side was green and the other side was red.
I didn't notice.
Nobody else saw it but me. I was the only one that saw it. What? I did start my medicine a couple of days ago.
She said you were delusional even before you started your medicine.
Maybe you should stop.
Maybe it was a mistake or something, but that right side was red. But anyway, so when will the light be on? This light?
July.
July of what year?
This year.
Okay, just want to be clear. I'm going to write that down.
No, when I got elected, everything was going to happen, and it's going to be great in 28 was the theme, and we're trying to move these things forward to.
Yeah, you really worked hard on trying to get the pier up a year, but there are things that are out of your control. You can't worry about it. The Bowditch Beach situation is also a county property. What's the latest on that?
So again, FEMA is a difficult beast to navigate. Bowditch is we have the permits, we have the approval. We actually just recently, within the last month or two, got our core permits for the docks, right? So all the waterfront structures, we didn't have we were working on the bathrooms and the landward portion of the building. We put that out to bid, and we did not have enough bidders to award the project under the FEMA guidelines. So we only had one bidder, and FEMA does not allow you to proceed unless you have
how stupid
two or more.
This is how stupid the federal government
not
is.
to go backwards, but that's the same issue that the county had, if I'm not mistaken, with the light here. You have to have so many bidders to be able to do. Same thing we had with the pool. If you didn't have enough bidders, you couldn't move forward. You had to go back out for another round.
It makes no sense to me. If somebody doesn't want to bid on a project and you only get one qualified bidder, why does the federal government, it causes such a long delay?
They want the best bang for their buck.
So this time, our staff tells me that because we have the project was relatively small, right? A lot of the big GCs are busy, and the project wasn't big enough to get a lot of their attention as much as like Lynn Hall, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So we're packaging up the new bid with the docks, and I'm optimistic that a marine contractor could take the lead as the prime on this job now to do the boardwalks, the docks, and the heavy work on that, and then maybe subcontract a smaller contractor to do the bathrooms and the finish work. So that way the prime work is all carpentry work that the marine construction industry can bring to the table. And it's should be about a $2.5 million project altogether now. And with the new repackaging, we should have a bid to award this time. So,
and I think it's important to go backwards a little bit. And maybe Dave, you want to give the people who don't know you or what your background is and your family's background, know what you're talking about when it comes to construction and deconstruction. So I think it's important to let people know what your background is. So when you're talking about this, you know what you're talking about.
So I forget. So for those of you who don't know me, my father's side of the family is the Honch family, HONC. So Honch Marine, Honch Construction. My company is called Honch Destruction. So I don't build anything. I only make vacant lots.
You got the fun part of the business.
My father owns Honch Marine. My uncle Damien owns Honch Docks. So my grandfather, John Honch Sr., who recently passed, unfortunately, at 92 years old, founded our company in 1955 in the marine construction industry. So I grew up in these trades doing the actual work. So I can read the prints, I can read the contracts. And so when Dan and I talk about construction, we actually are invested in the trade.
Yeah. And one of the last buildings that you knocked down was right over the Cape Coral Bridge, and it was it a bank building or something, and it was filled with iguanas. Like, I don't know how it was called, the iguana building. It wasn't even called the bank building. The people in Cape Coral called it the iguana building. And your one of your trucks is still there. We can see it when we come back over the bridge. So so when
no more iguanas.
When will
and no more building?
And one of the people were commenting,
tastes like chicken.
Did you save all the iguanas before you knocked the building down? Nobody wants to save any of the iguanas. They're a nuisance, and I don't even, what do they call it when they're not native to Florida? They're non-native.
Non-native.
Right. They're invasive. Sorry. It's dementia, day 3 of dementia. So
we give them a 10-minute head start before
Minnesota. Here we come. No, so when will something be open at Bowditch? Give us a date. I'm going to hold you to all these dates, David.
Oh, good. They gave me an easy one for this. You're going to like this, everybody. TBD.
All right. We don't know when Bowditch is going to be open. So those of you on the north end, we'll get back to you on that.
We're humans in this business. Okay.
Yeah.
Once that bid comes out, I'll come back and tell you, give you an update.
Right. Dan, anything you want to throw in here, or you want me to keep going?
No, keep
All
going.
right.
I think Dave hit the nail on the head. We're humans. We're at the mercy of funding and contracts.
I mean, we pick on FEMA a lot, but if it wasn't for FEMA, those big black trucks wouldn't have been here after the storm, and they were here for a long time, and they picked up a lot of stuff.
And the federal government covered 100% of that cost, which
it just
between the government and the state.
To me, it just seems like if government's here to help, they could do it a little bit faster and a little efficiently, but they can't.
The amount of projects that FEMA helped us with since Ian is 4 times, 5 times what we have in reserves. We could have never written a check for any of this going in.
It would have bankrupted the county, and it would have bankrupted the entire county.
So we have to navigate the system and work it all out. But everything takes longer and costs more than we want to. But I assure you, our teams are working their tails off to get these things back online.
But the efficiency part of it, I think Chauncey Goss said it best. There's a lot of soldiers, but no generals, right? And to me, it's a process thing. If you could just have someone here that I don't know if I've ever been on a construction job where a project manager didn't know where that project was. And it just seems like with FEMA, there's no project managers that are down here seeing the day to day. And instead of sending 458 people around with iPads saying, "Can I help you?" put a shovel in their hand or do something to make decisions.
In that same meeting, Chauncey said, which I like his quote better, this quote better. He said, FEMA puts a lot of boots on the ground, but no brains on the ground, which he said in the same meeting, whatever that was. All right, so the next big project that people are looking forward to opening up is the Matanzas Pass Preserve, which is, if you've never been there, hopefully when it opens, you can go there. It's beautiful. It's like a walk through the mangroves.
A kayak launch in the back.
Yep, behind the Estero Island Historical Society. Behind the empty beach school. It's over on by Bay. Is it Bay Street or Bay Lane? But I know you guys have been working on it because I walked back there a couple of times.
That should actually be wrapping up any time now.
Oh,
so
has anybody been back there lately and seen it coming along?
They started the demo in September of last year, and it says we finished here this spring. So it could be later this month, maybe in April. So
awesome. Well, that'd be great.
That's another check mark for you, Ed.
Going to put the date.
And now you've really got quite a walk that you could do with the Matanzas Pass Preserve, and then the new sidewalk around the Bay Oaks property.
Yes,
I mean,
it looks great over there.
Yeah,
Crescent Park is underway.
Well, let's talk about Crescent Park. You got a fence around Crescent Park, and you got big piles of sand. But to me, I don't know. Again, I'm a little demented, but it looked like you guys haven't really done a lot of work on it the last 2 weeks. Every time I come down on the weekend, it just seems like the sand is still in big piles. I could be wrong. So when is it going to be done? What's going on now? When is it going to be done?
Sorry, my eyes used to be better when I was younger. Let me see here. Fall of 26. So, I mean, this is a relatively short-term project, but so just because you see earth moving, the civil construction has to happen before you get the vertical construction. So a lot of that initial project, when I sent you those prints.
Yes, you did.
I know you can't read the prints, but I sent them to you. But
send them to Kim.
The initial part of the project is the
really.
Drainage. And so we had to get there's a big central drainage structure in the middle of that. And you've got to get all those underground subgrade structures and drainage all set up first before we can get the grade and then make it pretty on top. So it's all happening on purpose. And that's about a 6-month job.
And I know there's not going to be like a amphitheater, but Betsy told me there's going to be some kind of, Betsy is the PIO at the county, and your PIO team is awesome. Betsy and Tim and everybody else, but I mostly deal with them. They're really great. And I know there's going to be like a floating area where there'll be entertainment there, right?
So actually, I want to thank the mayor and some other local stakeholders. We had a meeting here a few months ago. It could be 6 months ago. Time moves pretty quick in this business.
Yeah.
But we had a request from the town and some local stakeholders to have an amphitheater or a bandstand to be part of the Crescent Beach Park. And I went back to staff and talked to our county manager, Dave Harner, and his team, and they were extremely receptive to hear that the town wanted this. So the county, at our expense, is buying a modular bandstand stage, whatever the right word for that is, a temporary stage for events.
Floodplain compliant.
Yeah. It's be 24 feet tall. No,
yeah.
But anyway, a temporary bandstand so that when we have musical events, the county is going to donate the structure, then the putting it up and the taking it down for any of these events going forward at Crescent Beach Park, so that when you have town events here and coordinating with Margaritaville and other stakeholders, we're going to provide that. But we didn't have to build it permanently into the ground because of all the complications of FEMA, as we just said, but we can install it and take it down for those events. And I was really pleased to help coordinate that. So thank you for inspiring that, Dan.
Thank you for being receptive in the county. But another piece of that is the area where the trolleys used to be. We had also talked about making that golf cart.
Hold on. Let me last question about the Crescent area, and then we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
So who's going to be responsible for the entertainment? Like, how will that work? Can somebody?
You are.
No, I mean, I would love to. I mean, but will somebody like apply for a special events permit through the town and the county constructs the? I mean, how will all that work? Because that's a great spot for entertainment. You can sit on the beach. You can see it from Margaritaville. How will that work?
Well, I would assume it would come through the town. It's a county park, but it would probably take both, collaboration with the county and the town to be able to do something. They obviously, as Dave said, they're going to have to pull it out and bring it. I don't know
where
if
would you
it's gonna
store
sit there.
that,
If
David?
it's going to sit there permanently. I don't know. But
Where would you store the stage?
I don't know
Okay.
where the.
Yeah. All right. I mean, because that's a great spot.
there's always events that people want to have there.
Yeah.
And
For the chamber,
The chamber,
apply for a permit or
Mhm.
any
All
of these
right.
musical
the
events.
point is to activate that park.
Yes.
In the past, that
We
park
want to
was-
use it.
Yeah, the park was never really activated. It never, and now with the roundabout and when the landscaping gets put
Yes.
in there,
You're
it's
jumping
gonna be-
ahead.
it's
You're
gonna
jumping
be a
ahead.
beautiful entrance into the island, and it's just going to enhance it.
And I'm looking forward to the AstroTurf.
No AstroTurf.
That was due to the people. The people rose up against the AstroTurf, and the county listened. The county did listen because there was going to be some AstroTurf, and the people were like, you know how hot AstroTurf gets in the summer? And the county took it out of their plans. So, I mean, I have to give kudos to the people.
We listen.
Yeah. And so, Dan, go ahead with the parking.
Yeah. So if you come over the bridge, for those that don't know, and you're turning to the left, Crescent Beach Park is on your right, and on the left there's that black fenced-in area that just kind of sits, and it's always been used as trolley stops. So we met with Commissioner Mulicka and said, this could be a better use of something. We can provide areas to be able to park the trolleys that don't include this area. So we talked about doing a golf cart / bike parking in that area. And you can probably hold close to 100 golf carts, I think, walking in there and walking it off between golf carts and parking, and then maybe moving the Lee County Sheriff's center in there. So I'll let Commissioner Mulicka go from there. But that was the idea.
This is part of that same site visit where I was invited down here to listen to the local stakeholders on these ideas and with the stage in Crescent Park and so the takeaway from that meeting was that hole in the donut, beautiful piece of real estate that we owned right in the middle of town here was actually just overnight trolley. The trolleys just slept there at night. So it obviously looked like a waste of space and kind of a barren spot here. So again, I went back to our county manager and said, hey, can we pursue this? And again, he was really happy to hear that the town and town manager were receptive to this. So with their coordination and collaboration, they found us another place for the trolleys to be parked at night instead of where we were using this. And the idea is we have a concept plan right now that has not yet presented to the board. So I can't officially say any official plan start time on this, but I do have concept sketches that we're going to allow non-motorized vehicle parking to be in that area for all the public to circulate. So with all these crosswalks and new circulation paths and the new parks opening up here, to have a place to ride your bike, take a golf cart, non-vehicular parking. It'll have water fountains because we were asked for that for bicyclists that want to fill up their water bottles before they cross over the bridge. So we got that. And then the little sheriff's house.
Oh, cool.
That's around the corner for that property that's up
Great
for sale.
spot.
We're going to move the sheriff, which is a great spot for him
Yes.
to watch and keep an eye on everybody's public safety perch here in the middle, right? And so to make sure everybody's behaving. So it'll be a really nice little hole in the donut park to allow people to have a destiny for all those e-bikes, golf carts, stop, park, walk over to the beach, enjoy the restaurants, etc., and then have a place to exit safely. So I'm excited about that. And that could be happening later this year.
Cool.
We're allowing the contractor that's rebuilding the
Salty
crab to use that for temporary staging on a month-by-month basis until we get this plan in order. And then when we want to start that park, we're going to exit their lease, and then we'll start construction on
Man,
that.
that area is going to be so nice when that's done and Salty Crab is up and all the landscaping is put in by the county and somebody knocks down.
Margaritaville's doing landscaping in that, right?
Well, actually, FDOT is going to be doing the installation, and Margaritaville will be doing the maintenance of it. So
Okay.
if
I
you've
knew
been
there was a
around
team effort,
Margaritaville, you obviously see they take their landscaping very seriously.
yeah. Hell
So
yeah.
you
They know
know
the
it's going
palm
to
tree
stay
is
beautiful.
That is a palm tree, not a fern.
Yeah.
No, and if somebody would knock down the surf club, that whole area over there was going to be beautiful. So, and by the way, anything new on the Salty Crab? Have you heard anything? Well,
I have not heard anything
right.
new on the Salty Crab.
all right. So, and the landscaping.
Just that they're approved.
So the landscaping. Does anybody know when it's going in?
We just had some emails going back and forth on that, and I want to say it's not.
I didn't get any. I didn't get it.
Well, it was.
I didn't get the email.
Again, it's through FDOT, but I think it's going to be 2027 because it was a separate contract
Yeah.
from the actual construction part of it. So
I'll
I want to
find
say,
out.
all right.
We'll find out for you.
I want to say it's 27 if I remember correctly. That's going to be all planted and implemented.
And so that'll be paved, right? That's not going to look like the Beacon parking lot. Somebody's going to pave that area.
Pave what area?
Where the golf cart parking is
Oh,
going to
no,
be. It's going to be a really nice looking.
asphalt.
Oh,
full
sweet.
on. Yes.
Very
yes,
nice. All right. So the big project that the county is working on is Estero Boulevard. The pavers and the I guess they started according to folks here. By the way, before David answers that, this box of Gulf of America shirts, we're trying to sell them. We're going to sell them today for $10, and 100% of the money is going to go to the Community Foundation right today before Joy leaves. We have 3 small, 1 medium, 2 3Xs, and 2 4Xs. And if you want to buy one, the $10 and the cash will go right to the Community Foundation, all of it before Joy leaves. So the big project is
How many of them you got left?
2, 4, 5, 8.
80
shirts
bucks.
left. $80. You going to match it?
No, I was just going to say I'll give you $80 and give them away for free.
All right. Dan's going to give away. All right. Somebody wants to just donate. $60 from Dan, and we'll give away the shirts for free. We need $60 more.
Put me down for 2 for Charlie. It's just
All right.
My son Charlie just turned 22 today. So
Sweet.
Yeah.
What sizes would you like to bring up?
happy birthday, Charlie.
What sizes? Got medium?
He's not a 3X.
He's not. No, he's,
He's not a
definitely
small.
not.
So,
And all right, we got all
3X
the
is
money
close
here.
enough.
So thank you very much. Welcome to the Jerry Lewis Telethon, everybody.
I think
And,
I think Hunter could probably
Jerry
wear a
Lewis.
small by
Hunter, small one for Hunter and a 3X for Charlie.
Does anybody remember Jerry
He's a
Lewis,
3X. He's a tall. He's
Dean
tall.
Martin,
He's
and
tall.
Jerry Lewis, the 2 funniest people ever? What? Sorry.
No, nothing.
All right. So I don't know what's going on here, but we don't need any money. So thank you, Joy. We got $100 to give towards your. Thank you. It's mayhem here at Wahoo Willie's today.
Well,
Mayhem.
Howie evidently didn't pay attention.
Yeah, Howie's just looking for free stuff. That's how what the hell's going on here?
Howie.
All right, so Estero Boulevard.
We have raving fans.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's not
You know,
well.
Howie's always a little behind the times. You know,
He's not well.
he's
So,
wearing a Pee Wee Herman shirt.
where are we on Estero Boulevard? From what I heard, it started it down by the Ascension Church, which is at the turn there. Is that where it's going to start and come all the way to Times Square? How does that project going?
So I apologize. I don't have that specific detail, but
What's
As
Dave
a-
Harner's phone number? We'll call him. And I'm kidding.
I think
That's-
answer.
You'll be back to us
I'll
on that.
let you know Monday
All
morning.
right.
But as an overall project status,
Thank you.
I wanted to let you know Estero Boulevard's been a frustration for all of us. The drainage, the pavers, all in all, it's the 1.0 version of that is not what we all intended and wanted it to be. So I'm pleased to announce that with the construction, we actually have a good contractor with Wright Construction to do this project, and they're a great civil contractor.
Sure are.
And
They're the ones building the new town or the new fire station.
and they'll be building the Lynn Hall Park.
Yeah.
So when those guys show up, they go
They're
to work.
great. They're great.
So you're welcome, Fred. Hey,
Free plug.
but with the Estero Parkway contract, we had about a $16 million grant. The bid came in around 12. So I'm just giving you round numbers here. But we had a $3 to $4 million surplus in this grant that we left open as a contingency because we're going to take apart this whole road from start to finish and be able to make it right as we go. So we actually have enough surplus reserves for the unforeseens and unknowns when the manhole cover, something broke, a structure is impaired, the drainage is done improperly, we need to shore up something, make something thicker, stronger, drainage better, we actually have the resources on hand to fund those contingency work orders to make it right as we go this time. So I'm confident that the 2.0 version of this Estero Parkway rebuild, we actually won't have to make an excuse of say, we didn't have enough money to do it right this time either. We're going to ask for more money 3 years from now. We're actually doing it all right as we go this time.
So
I wanted to give you some good news on that.
Are you guaranteeing the people on Fort Myers Beach that when it rains, it's actually going to work?
That is the intent of the entire redesign.
All right.
They'll be working on this year round. So
Well, if anybody remembers what it was like before Estero
my
Boulevard
gosh.
was redone, it was
it was pretty awful. But
Yeah.
my confidence in our design team, the engineers that are on board, the engineering services, and then the contractor, I'm confident that we have the right team on this job and learn from we got older and wiser, right? And we're going to do it better than we did last time. And I'm confident that we'll deliver a better product to everybody.
Does anybody know how, when the town was incorporated, the county, forget about Estero Boulevard, but how did the county wind up owning Crescent and Lynn Hall Park and Bowditch and Matanzas Pass Preserve? Why does the county own like little
We
snippets?
paid for it.
I think it came down to money. It came down to the town couldn't afford. And Anita probably could give you a better, or Ray could probably give you a better answer than I could. But my understanding is that area, when it came available after Charlie, the town didn't have the money to buy like Crescent Park and things like that. So it came down to financing. Is my
I
understanding.
guess I'm dumb. I don't follow.
Seafarers Mall, the three
Yeah.
hotels across the way, all of that where Crescent is now, that was all a county purchase.
I guess I'm not following it. If it's all Fort Myers Beach from bridge to bridge and you incorporate, don't you have to negotiate with the
The
county
seller,
for?
it was a private seller.
Oh, I see.
There used to be
I
a
see.
hotel at Crescent Park.
Oh, I didn't
There
know
were
that.
There were three hotels
Oh, I didn't know
in
that.
that footprint, and then a 3-story mall across the street that
I remember
my
that.
company toured that, the old mall down.
Mhm.
So what was
Emily
Lynn?
Plaza.
Was Lynn Hall Park always a parking lot?
Yes.
Yeah, good. I don't know that.
That's yes.
So how come the town didn't wind up with? I know you guys might not know this. I need to ask Anita that. That's the whole thing that was. I guess
Well,
I
Lynn Hall Park was named after
Sure.
an LCSO officer, right? So I don't know if that's why it stayed with the county. I'm guessing that might be why, but
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that would be great revenue for the town. That's why I need to do the research on that. I thought maybe you guys would know that. All right, so
No, that's-
two more.
It's great teamwork. I mean,
Yeah.
we're
Yeah, and Will's watching.
partners and neighbors.
Will's watching, and he's saying the partnership with the county with Dave Harner is great too. So it's
Agreed.
a love fest. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
they're both.
wonderful.
Well, they're both Dave and Will are ex-military, so
Yeah.
different branches.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time they met was up at the Emergency Operations Center, and they clicked like brothers when they started talking about military stuff.
Did you notice yesterday that when I was trash talking at pickleball, I never said anything to Will? It was always aimed at you.
Well, yeah, because you didn't want him to snap your neck.
I know he
probably.
could kill me with 2 fingers, and he's probably done that before.
I just humiliate. I don't have to kill you. I just humiliate you in
Yeah.
sports.
Yeah,
I mean,
you hit
you're
my wife with
athletic,
the ball.
I mean, round is a shape. You're in shape. I'm A shape.
Do you play pickleball, David?
I do not.
You don't. All right. So the
You
other,
should have been there yesterday.
Yeah.
He was crying like a
58
baby.
years pickleball free.
yeah. So
It's a workout.
I'm
It's a
sure.
workout, yeah.
it was. So 2 other issues. You came in hard and heavy on the Trico project. Like there's something happened down there, and you guys own the property, and they weren't taking care of the property, and you want to transform that property into something useful. So what's going on there on the other side of the bridge where the Trico shrimp boats are?
All right. So the good news is the Lee County, and speaking for myself, I'm certainly pro shrimp and pro shrimping industry. As I mentioned in that meeting, I've been buying shrimp on Main Street for 50 years. And but unfortunately, the county's owned that property at the Main Street compound there on Main Street. And thanks to my wife and Department of Economic Opportunity, she was able to get a $7.5 million grant from the state to rebuild that park. And the specific portion of that grant is to create jobs in the shrimping industry at that location. So make no bones about it, we are rebuilding that park to build it for the shrimping industry to remain there forever.
And I don't mean to
Okay.
interrupt, but some people
And-
might not know that your wife is a state representative. She didn't just go through a drive-through and take $7 million out of the bank. She's a state representative, and that's
She didn't
how.
go through your drive-through with the outfit you got there?
Jenna also has a drive-through
Yeah.
for grants
That's-
also. So if anybody else needs one of those, but no, I shout out to my wife. She's also the chair. She's a budget sub-chair for K through 12 education, and she's responsible for $32 billion of our state budget this year. So I'm really proud of her efforts and her work. But this particular question, getting back to the shrimping industry, this is important to all of us here. We want the shrimping industry to succeed. In my opinion, we had a tenant in that area, that had a long-term lease there that failed us. We didn't fail him. I went into that site prior to being elected, and I was actually asked to bid the demolition of that site. And I walked into that place, and it was just god-awful. They had not touched a thing. It was full of rotten shrimp and everything else, every piece of paperwork from everybody at their desk that ran out the door that day after Ian, everything was exactly in place and as a rotting carcass of a building. And I've done some pretty nasty demolition sites in my life, and that was right up there with the worst of them. But they made zero efforts to clean up the place, to repair anything, to replace anything, and they just stood in the way. They wouldn't move their boats out of the way. And if we could not, this grant requires us to start construction within a certain time frame later this year. And there's a submerged land lease that the state has to grant us, and they would not allow us to get the lease unless we were the sole tenant. You know, the owner was the only person there. Their sublease stood in the way of the underground water lease to build back the seawall, shrimp dock, marina, the barge site, because we're going to have gray sky barging sites for offloading things, so we don't have to use Punta Rassa anymore like we did, and keep that open for the public park. By the way, that park's Punta Rassa was a year ahead of schedule from when I first got elected to delivering that. We wouldn't have it open right now on the original schedule, so another good news project. But we will have an offload barge site for derelict vessels and other things at that same Main Street compound. Our Department of Natural Resources. And then there's a new building in the front of that. You know where the old C school was in the front of that Trico site there?
Yeah, I think people don't understand how big that property
We have
really
5
is.
acres now that we're combining for the public benefit. So we'll have Department of Natural Resources, other public works offices, and then we're actually going to try to redesign that to have a local meeting space so we can facilitate local town hall forums and other things here in the future for about a 5,000 square foot building there as well. So
is there any plan to have any
that-
additional parking there with transport
Yes.
from there to the island?
Yes. So we're going to pave a whole bunch of it, but that whole site, the if you drive into it, the left side of the compound that's actually underwater swampland right now is actually where the shrimp docks are going to be, and we're going to put that out to bid. And the current Trico or anybody else that wants to apply to be the new stakeholder under the new facility lease will have the chance to compete to win that new award. But we had to get them out of the way so the county could move forward with their business and build back a $7 to $10 million new upgraded public benefit shrimping industry compound at that location.
When might all that kind of get rolling? And
Well, now that contract is going to be extinguished, I think those permits will be online later
well,
this
that
year.
still might go to litigation, though, right? Is that
But
going
the
to hold it up?
litigation won't stop the permitting.
Okay, gotcha.
The termination of the lease is a separate subject. So
All right.
we did that. Let's just get the state to approve the permit. We already have the design happening for that already. So I wouldn't be surprised if the next 6 to 9 months we start
Gotcha.
to see activity in there.
And I don't want to sound like I don't know a lot about the shrimp stuff, but this is Trico you're talking about, not Erickson and Jensen. This is different, right? This is Trico that you had the lease with.
I apologize. I don't have the entities exactly.
Oh,
there was a merger of 2 different partners.
Yeah.
I believe it was Trico.
Yes.
Trico was the
Yes.
name that people keep saying.
Right.
But again, I'm not trying to personalize this. Whenever you have a contract in business, just like when I sign one, I have to do what I say I'm going to do, right? And if you sign your half, you have to do what you say you're going to do. And my grandfather always said a contract's got to be good for both sides. If both sides had done their part, things might be different. But I can't make up for somebody not doing their half. We just had to move forward with our business and make sure the public got their opportunity to get the shrimping industry back online as quickly as possible.
Yeah, good.
All right. Being that you brought up your wife and she's a state representative, where are we going with this property tax issue? You got everybody You don't, but everybody, including the county, all the municipalities are just hanging by their fingernails waiting for the state to do something. The House passed a bill. The Senate didn't pass it. They're going to have a special session. What is she telling
some
you?
would argue that the budget is probably top of the list is getting done first.
No, I know, but I mean, I think the municipalities could care a lot more. They care a lot more about this property tax thing because it's going to be costly. Where are we going with this? Husband of a state representative? I'm sure you talk about this all the time at home. Give us the inside scoop.
Can I phone a friend?
No, come on. Tell us what she's saying.
No. The answer is nobody has the answer. Okay, that's the frustration, right? Everybody it makes for a good bumper sticker. I'm speaking for myself and not for my wife right now, just for the record. Okay, but free property taxes sound great. Owning your property forever sounds great, but nobody wants to not have services, right? We have to have roads, we have to have water, we have to have parks, all the things that our taxes pay for. In my opinion, what I've said is everybody wants government, everybody wants the services. They just want to make sure we're not wasteful with their money. They want to make sure that the money they pay in taxes doesn't go into a black hole, a slush fund. It is not used for the intended purpose for what they intended it to be when they hired us to do our jobs, right? So we need to make sure that we're trying to be as effective and efficient with our dollars as possible. But you can relabel something. You can call it a water tax, a road tax, a trash tax, and have 100 different line items on a bill and call it not property taxes, but it still needs to have some mechanism of funding because you want to have those services to fund your daily lives. So we can't kid ourselves. Everybody says they like the free side, but nobody knows what they want to
Nothing's ever
allocate
free.
the revenue side.
So let me ask you the question this way: If all the homeowners in Southwest Florida, Lee County, are now tax free up to $100,000, all the homesteaded properties are now tax free up to $100,000. How are you going to make that up?
Well, again, we're going to have to. I will tell you one thing I was really proud of this year. When I first came into office in 2024, I got sworn in November. We had just passed the budget. I was $5 million upside down in our first budget. And I said, every week I ask questions, how can I make $100,000 a week back to get that money back and balance our budget? In the first year that I participated in the budget, last year, when the tax bills came out last June, our staff and our team went back on their files and they cut our overhead by $16 million to claw that money back to balance our budget again. And when the tax base went up, I'm proud to tell you that we added $20 million back to our reserves from where we were the year before. We cut the 16 million, but as soon as we got the new money in from the final tax bills, we didn't go back and spend it as quick as we could. But we put it in our reserves because we're concerned this upcoming year and the year after that, there are going to be some tough times, right, with these property tax questions you have. And we want to make sure we have a rainy day fund to have enough acorns in the bank
that's not
ahead of time.
But that's not going to make up the total. So is there?
No, but not the total. But I'm just telling you, we're trying to every step that we can. We're responding to these opportunities.
But there really isn't.
And if we lose another $5 million or $10 million with this $100,000 exemption you're discussing, then we'll figure it out, right? But that's what
what the answer is there'll be a tax somewhere else. There's going to have to be a tax,
or there'll be a cut,
You'll lose a service.
You reprioritize things, right? I mean, after a hurricane, we all know, right? Things get real in a hurry when you don't have drinking water. Your trash is piled up in front of your house. I mean, your core needs change, right? Under those gray sky conditions. So we will reprioritize as we need to. We'll have those discussions. We'll have your feedback, and we'll respond accordingly.
And that needs to go on a referendum, correct? The taxes can't, or is it a bill that gets passed and then the governor signs it and that's it?
No, this would be a referendum.
Okay,
so it'd be on a 28 ballot.
So what's still
this budget that we're in right now? If they ever start doing the budget, this is the second year in a row. The only thing they're legally required to do in session is balance the budget, and we haven't done that yet. So after 60 days, again, so when they go back, this budget that we're on right now will not be affected by this potential tax referendum. It would be the following year. So there'll be a year, it would be a year's ramp up for that.
I think the devil's in the details, right? Everybody loves the thought of no property taxes on homesteaded properties, or even potentially all properties, but the devil's in the details. How do you offset, to your point, Ed? How do you offset that? I think they're talking about the problem is there's 25 different ideas.
Well, the House
and
did
nothing
pass
is
one. Didn't go anywhere.
It didn't go anywhere, right? But
Well,
something's going to have to give.
But the thing that for everybody to keep in mind is that whatever passes, you need to get educated on. Like there needs to be an education process on. Okay, if you don't want to pay taxes on your house, here's what you're going to lose in services. That's
well,
what
for me, I would want to start looking at what do we already have in place that we could start drawing down on. And I've talked about it on the show before. Tourist development tax money that comes in. $60 million surplus, which a lot of that went to pay for the pier
and beach sand,
right? So could we use parts? When we don't have to deal with all that kind of stuff, could we use some of that to help offset it? Are there other programs already in place that are being funded through tourists that come here to be able to offset some of that?
And so many municipalities
without adding. But I think it's important to me. It would be important to not add to that tax.
You
aren't going to tax your tourists even more.
But then you would have to change the way the TDC money is doled out because Lehigh couldn't get it.
But that's something that could be done without a referendum. That's something that can be done at the state legislature level through a bill without having to change the Constitution.
And there's discussion of sales tax, raising sales tax. Yeah. But again, if you give free property tax to homeowners, it benefits the wealthy the most. Sales tax penalizes the poor the most.
That's right.
I mean, these are very difficult subjects, right? But a lot of these bills, you'll read them and they'll say, we want to do free property taxes, but you can't cut schools and you can't cut law enforcement. Yeah. Well, that's 85% of the pool. So the other 15% goes to do the other 30 services that you can on your lives. Yeah. So how do you want to divvy that up for?
Well, I think to me, this is a classic scenario of working backwards, right? If I was to look at it, at the state level, and I would go and see what funds have the most surplus and how can we allocate funds from that surplus back into the property tax talk and just work backwards. If it's already getting a surplus and that surplus continues to gain, how do you reallocate some of that funding from each of those surplus accounts back to the property tax? To me, that seems like it would be a good place to start.
Well, so I listened to Wilton Simpson spoke at an event last night, and I will tell you, being in the free state of Florida for what they've done in their budget the last 15 years, we've cut as a state, we have cut our overall debt by 80% in the last 15 years. We're down to about a $15 billion debt versus $60 to $70 billion debt where we were in the recession. And we're within the next 2 years, we could be almost debt free at the state because of that fiscal responsibility. So a lot of things that Dan is asking for, a lot of those excess reserves are being whittled down and for sales tax holidays and other things that are being given back to the taxpayers as well.
We're running over and I'm going to get yelled at, but I still have two more questions. So if you had to pick who the next supervisor of elections would be, who would you pick? Any thoughts?
No.
We're without a supervisor of elections right now.
I'll do it.
No, all kidding aside, I could brag about my wife all day long, and I love her to death. But she's a very smart person, and she's actually my wife, Jenna Mulicka, is actually being considered by the governor for a possible appointment to the supervisor of elections.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot, but I was told that when this session is over, the governor is going to appoint your wife as the supervisor of elections. Now, I don't know that's a fact.
She's a consideration, right? But the governor could make any choice he wishes. But again, Jenna, you hear about the election law, right? That's being discussed at the federal level right now. That Donald Trump says, "I want voter ID." My wife, Jenna Mulicka, ran that bill this year. That was a governor priority to have free and fair elections, voter ID, citizenship, proof of citizenship to vote, which is our single greatest freedom as Americans, to protect that freedom.
That's the thing. That's the thing. That's the most bizarre thing to me, that you have to have an ID.
She ran and passed that bill for the free state of Florida.
I know, but why anybody would ever be against something where you have to show an ID to vote? It's like the dumbest thing to be against. Like it's the most simplest thing. You would think everybody, 100% of the world, of the population of the United States would be like, yeah, I want people that actually live in the United States to be able to vote. Yet it's like it's such a project for this.
What do you
thing.
think would happen if you got stopped by a police officer and you didn't have your photo ID to show them?
Dude, do you see some of the videos on Facebook and YouTube where these people don't even roll down their windows, or they say, my rights are I don't have to show you my ID? It's like, why do you got to give the cops such a hard time? You got pulled over for a reason. Just show them your ID.
They were using HOA cards, like resident cards, right? Like,
Really?
I live in a 55 and over. I qualify for that now, thank God.
I live in the Jimmy
And,
Buffett community, so I can vote.
Yeah, here's my Costco card. Yeah. Put me down for 2 votes. Right?
So
I get them wholesale.
I thought I saw an AARP bumper sticker on your truck.
I think that would be a great call by the governor, and I hope it happens.
As a husband and a father, I would love to have my wife commute to downtown
Right.
Fort Myers for
Instead
a
of
living, and
Tallahassee.
not to Tallahassee and back for 17 to 30 weeks a year.
Yeah, that's
so
a haul.
Yeah. And your dad is running for school board again? Is it his time to run again or no?
So Armor Persons is running for re-election.
Her
He's
dad,
the
sorry.
current, Jenna's father. Armor Persons is the chair of the school board right now, running for re-election, doing a great job. You see the conservative measures and all the level of decorum and the organization with our school, and a quick moment of consideration for
Yes.
our superintendent, Denise Carlin. Her husband passed recently, and his celebration of life was yesterday. So if you could just give me a second to honor him, but his funeral was yesterday. So
Yeah, we did mention that on the show yesterday too. But we will leave out any discussion about the school board on this show to be. We'll talk about that at some other time. But go ahead.
one other quick fan favorite, my predecessor, Ray Sandelli. Everybody loves Ray, right?
Yeah.
Nicest guy in show business, and he is now running for Bonita City Council.
Yeah.
So if you have any friends or family in that area, please help support Ray.
We're gonna
I
have.
know, it's
wait,
like
don't go anywhere. We got
It's
one
like
more
a
question.
conundrum because
Yeah.
every time I talk to him, do I call you commissioner, future council
Yeah,
member?
we're gonna have him on the
Ray,
show
what do
to
I call
ask
you?
him why he's running again. Last time he was on the show, he's like, "I need to retire. My wife's gonna kill me if I run again." And then I look on the paper and he's running for sterile. Like, Ray, what are you doing?
That guy never
He
takes a
can't
break.
retire. So the last question is, you come to Fort Myers Beach and you got this beautiful building called Vixen's that we love to see because it's so nice. It's red. It's got beautiful turtle lighting. But before you get to
How's the
that,
interior decorating, Ed?
before you get to that lovely building, by the way, if anybody sees the ugly yellow truck out in front of that building, it's totally AI generated. I'm telling you that it's not going to be real. You get this big, you got this
Kim,
like
we got to coordinate on
giant
something.
yacht that's like they sliced it down the middle and then they installed garbage in it. Like there's bedding in it. It's the ugliest thing coming over. It's on your property, not personally, but it's on county property. So, I mean, can you do what you did to them, like what you did to Trico? Can you get that out of there? What's going on with that?
All right. Well, there's several differences. One, county doesn't own that property. It's privately owned. But I will tell you, since you called me at 4:00 on a Friday to ask me this question before this interview today, I did get some feedback from staff. There are multiple code violations on that property that are being enforced. Unfortunately, the hearing examiner, when they put the hearing examiner is not part of the county commission. It's a separate judicial branch of county government. So when you get a code violation, you actually go before another judicial process.
Like the magistrate.
Yeah. So the hearing examiner has an existing fine for the code case, and it's assessing fines at $50 a day, which we're allowed to assess up to $500 a day. I don't know why the judge made that decision, but I'm just giving you the facts as they're presented to me.
All right.
So there's a new code case that got issued when they inspected the failure of the current code case in January. So there's at least 2, if not more. And that one is for illegal use of an RV on that site as a resident. So somebody showed me an email that they actually tried to plug power into that vessel on land to treat it like
It's a home.
which is crazy to me. But if they need a bid for a
got quite
demolition,
the
I
view
know a
of
guy
San
who can
Carlos.
help them with that and probably have it gone in 48
So-
hours.
So what you're saying is I need to go in the portal, the county portal, and see when the next magistrate meeting is to see where that process
You can
is.
follow that hearing if you type in the address to code enforcement, but there's at least 2 existing code violations. So that is how the process works. They always try to get you into compliance first and not be punitive. But if you don't show good faith, there are mechanisms that the county can do where they can send their own claw trucks and other things in there to remove hazardous things to the public, if it's in the public right of way. So we're talking, all those things are on the table, but they're taking steps.
I mean, but you did see it when you came over,
no,
right?
it's terrible. I agree. It's not right.
Yeah.
It needs to be extinguished.
All right. Anybody in the audience have any questions for your county representative? I'm sure if you have a private question, well, I don't mean about his personal life, but if you have a private question after that you want to ask him, feel free. Dan, did I forget anything?
No, I just want to take a minute to apologize to those who maybe heard me singing yesterday.
No, we're not done with our show.
We're not.
David,
okay. Then I'll hold off. I'll hold off on that.
All right.
Then.
Well, Dave, thank you very much for coming on. Big hand for
Thanks,
your
Dave.
county representative, David Mulicka. Thank you. And say hello to the family, please. Make sure we shut the right microphone off there. All right. No, Dan, I do have a couple of quick questions for you. I did want to ask you real quick, if you could. I posted a picture. Is your mic on?
No.
Yeah.
It is now. Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
He's going to put his medal on. I posted a picture, and I thought maybe you got mad at me about it. I hope not. About Miramar Street. There's a house at the end of Miramar Street that I know, and I feel bad for the town because I know the town has a limited staff, and they're really trying to get these people to clean up their lots, to knock down their ugly buildings. And there's a couple of them that you have to maybe knock down yourself. It takes a while. It's a long process. But that house at the end of that beach access is pretty dangerous, and there's no code violations on it.
Well, no. We'll start at the beginning. No, I'm not mad at anybody. As I said before, if we don't know that there's an issue, or I don't know that there's an issue, I can't rectify it or find out what the solution or where the solution process is. I don't know why there's not a code violation.
Do you know what house I'm talking about?
Well, I know. Yes.
Okay.
But I can't speak as to why there's not. If there's no code violation, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know why. But we have about 12 or 14 properties that are in the process that you saw through the magistrate that are going through the abatement process, where you either take care of it or we're going to take care of it. I don't know why that one's not in there. Maybe if Will's listening, he can probably.
No, and I swear I'm not trying to pick on the town. It's just, and I know there are homes everywhere on this island that you're trying to work on and get into compliance, and you don't have 50 code enforcement officers. And that's what I think is you're drinking through a fire hose now, because the people that live next door, they want their neighbor to at least clean up, and you're trying. I know the town is trying. There are so many properties, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I know people don't like the P word, the process word, but when you find someone in violation, like David was saying, you have to go through a certain process. You got to let them know that they're out of compliance, and you got to give them 30 days to come into compliance, or then you start going on to the magistrate. So, and then they have the right to appeal that. They can extend it. They can do all kinds of different things to try to come into compliance before it gets to a magistrate. But once you get to the magistrate ultimately makes the ruling. And as you saw in the last one, they get a little bit of time to do it. If they don't, then the town's willing and ready to go in and abate the properties as we need to. And then the cost of that, people always ask, well, what happens if the town does that? Well, that gets applied to their tax bill, so the town will get their money back, maybe not right away, but it gets attached to their tax bill, so they have to pay it. And that was Nancy's idea.
Yeah,
Nancy and
there are property rights, so it's not like you could just go in and knock the buildings down or something like that. But that house on Miramar Street, I don't mean to pick on it, but it's unsafe. Like, there are people going through there. There are people playing in there. I'm not saying that because I've seen it, but the neighbors tell me that. And, sometimes the neighbors don't want to be narcs. I don't have any problem with it. I mean, I'll take a picture of a building and I'll put it on the website, because if the neighbors, they don't want the kickback of, picking on somebody that they might even know. But when you're at the end of a beach access, something like that, and the neighbors walk by it every day, and it's unsafe, and they see people sleeping in there and things like that, it's just one of those things. But
I don't know if, the building official is the one that determines if a house is unsafe, structurally unsafe, right? And whether or not that has been determined, I don't know. But if it hasn't, I'm sure someone's going to take a look at it. Maybe it has been structurally. I don't know. I don't know the specifics on that.
Yeah, and speaking of the magistrate, Monica. She's so nice. She gave those people 2 weeks. They didn't even have the courtesy to show up last week a lot of people watched the magistrate meeting because they know these ugly buildings. This property owner from California or Canada, she owns these 4 properties, and the town is coming hard after them because it's been long enough.
We are. Yeah. And I think what you've seen in the past is once it gets to that point, unfortunately, it takes getting to that point to get a reaction from the property owner to start doing something. But I'm telling you, the town is we're ready to go. If we get the go ahead from the magistrate to take it down, it's coming down.
All right. So I don't know. I don't have any other questions for Dan, if anybody does. But is there anything that you wanted to update people on that we didn't talk about?
Well, like a Friday night coming over the bridge, I saw the lights were on the top of the bridge. I have not had a chance to look under the bridge to see if those were on, but
Jody said they were on.
They were on?
Jody works here, and she said the lights. Is Jody still here, Aaron? She said she
Good.
parks under
Okay.
there, and they were on.
Good. So hopefully they stay on this time. They don't go back off, but that's you know, that's a step forward. And as I was saying before David walked away, I want to apologize to anyone that maybe heard me singing last night. Megan and I with our neighbors.
Do tell as much of that story as you want to, please, because that's hilarious.
So
this is the down-to-earth mayor. You're never going to see other mayors do what he did last night. It's worth it. It's worth the price of this show.
So we were sitting in our lanai with our neighbors last night and the dogs, and all of a sudden it's about 6:30, 7 o'clock, and we start hearing this loud music, and it's karaoke, right? And I'm not a karaoke fan. I you know, I can listen to the radio. I don't. Right? It's not my thing. So we're hearing this loud music, and we're kind of arguing with each other, like it's across the canal, it's the rental across the canal. So I've got the dogs out, and I walk down, and it's definitely not coming from across the canal from us. It's coming from what appears to be, you know, Junkanoo Publix area. You can tell it's that direction, right? So we go back inside, and they're like, no, it's across the canal. And I said, all right, we're going to settle this. So let's get in the golf cart, and we're going to go find this house. So we did. So we hopped in the golf cart, and we started heading out to try to find it. So we turned down Williams, and we're going down Randy Lane because we know it's not, you know, on the first street. So we're going down Randy Lane, and we're like, there's two people are walking, and we're like, you got to tell us where this is. It's down this. We're staying next door. We're actually staying in a rental next door to this property, and it sounds like they're having a really good time. And we think it's spring breakers. So we're gonna go crash.
He's about ready to narc on them. Call the cops on them.
Yeah, no. So we were gonna go crash the spring breakers party. So we find where the house is, and we're like, we think it's here. We think it's here. So you know, you don't want to just walk up there. So one of our neighbors, I'm like, you walk up there and see if this is it. So she walks up. She's like, yep, this is it. So I get out of the golf cart and I walk along the side of the house, and they're having a good old time singing karaoke. We still don't know who these people are. So I walk along the side of the lanai and just start holding like I've got a microphone and lip syncing whatever it is they're singing. And they turn around, and it's not spring breakers. It's actual residents that live in this house. They're full-time residents. And there's only like 4 or 5 of them there. But it wasn't that it was loud, but it was just carrying across the water. And again, it's only like 7 o'clock at night. So they're like, oh no. And then they recognize who I was. So they're like, come on in. So all 4 of us go inside, and they're like, you want to sing? Long story longer, I start singing karaoke for like 2 hours.
So Dan crashes a party of nobody he knows.
I don't know anyone.
There's all sorts of videos of him doing karaoke now. What was your favorite song?
Well, the worst part or the best part is there was no, you know, usually they have like the screens where you can sing along. There was no screen. So the music would play, and then you would just sing, right? And I'm not a good singer. I know it's hard to believe, but I'm not a good singer. So there was another gentleman who lived 2 doors down, another resident. So these were all residents. There was like 4 or 6 people there. They were all residents and just having a good old time. So we start singing
Thank you,
along,
guys.
watching. They've got a beautiful lanai. They've got a big screen TV out there with the basketball games on. So we just start to get to know our neighbors, and we're singing. And I will tell you, it's the first time in probably a very long time that I've had the cops called on us. So I didn't realize what time it was. We were just having a good time, and all of a sudden I see LCSO's face in the lanai, and I'm like, oh, it's
then they're trying to hide Dan in the closet. The mayor can't be caught.
It's got to be 10 o'clock. It's got to be 10 o'clock. So we shut it down right away. But so I apologize to anybody on Randy Lane or Williams or with it. I mean, that thing, it was carrying. I don't know. It didn't sound that loud in the lanai when I was there. It actually sounded as loud in the lanai as it did at our house, 3-4 streets away. So I apologize to anybody on Randy Lane. I was part of the problem, and it will not happen again. But we literally were just going to see if it was spring breakers having a good time, and we were going to give them a hard time, but it ended up being residents, and now we have some new friends.
Can you imagine anybody that was actually in a different municipality running for election that told that story? Would never win. You would win every election that you ever ran for on this beach, because did you guys see him in the parade dressed like a leprechaun, dancing like he was on Dancing with the
you
Stars.
gotta have fun, right? You gotta have fun. We didn't move to a beach to be prudes, right?
Right.
We moved here to have fun.
What was the name of that?
But I apologize again. I didn't mean to. But at 10 o'clock, it got shut down. LCSO, thank you for being. They were very nice. I didn't get to talk to them, but my understanding
Of course, you were in the
was-
closet. They were hiding you.
No, I was still singing actually, and when I saw him, I realized it was time to stop singing.
Did Captain Layler call you, or Commander Layler call you this morning?
I don't know, but we were trying to be at least sympathetic to everybody's tolerance. So we sang some country, we sang some rap, we sang some hip hop, we sang a little bit of everything.
Good
We
mixture.
did some Johnny Cash in there.
You're a Bob
So,
FM.
I think at some points people were probably enjoying the music, and other points they were like, just turn it off. Evidently the neighbor was not happy, so we again, sorry about that, but it was fun.
Big hand for your mayor, everybody. Dan Allers. Thank you, Dan. Always entertaining. We should do our own show someday. Before you hang up the phone, everybody, I want to tell you about our great sponsors. Please visit Mom's Home Cooking. Mom's Heather. I don't know if you saw Heather on TV last week. She was on TV. I don't remember what station it was, but she was on TV talking about spring break and how great they're doing. Mom's Home Cooking and Heavenly Biscuit have made the world a better place, one tummy at a time, for over 25 years. They're serving breakfast, lunch, and treats like our world-famous cinnamon rolls. The food truck is located at 2450 Estero Boulevard, Mom's Home Cooking, where everyone is treated special. Oscar on the Gulf. If you are looking to rebuild your home, give Oscar on the Gulf a call, where coastal real estate meets real expertise. From securing prime waterfront land to building resilient, equity-driven homes and listing at max value, Oscar delivers results from start to finish. Oscar on the Gulf with Premier Plus Realty and Homes by Power Block Builders. Give Oscar a call right now. He's sitting in his car waiting for you to call him on his cell phone. 239-406-7711. 239-406-7711. Or you can go online. And his name is spelled OZKR on the Gulf.com. OZKR on the Gulf.com. And of course, your UPS store is now open in Santini Plaza. The UPS store. Thank you very much, Joy. Appreciate you. See, you never know. You come down and we'll raise money for you in an hour. Packing and shipping guaranteed. Mailboxes available for rent with physical address. Open 7 days a week. They have a notary service, print services, and so much more available. They're located in the Santini Plaza. Contact the UPS store, 239-747-6222. 239-747-6222. And one more time, if you lost your wedding band last night because your wife slapped you in the face and you took off your wedding band and threw it outside Wahoo Willie's, I have it. For $100 donation to the Community Foundation, you can have it back. And we're going to leave it here at the cash register. So if you had a little too much to drink last night and it fell off, that's a big finger, though. That's a big person right there. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to Dan. Thank you to David. You guys have a great week. One newsletter this week because we have so much going on. So your next newsletter will be Friday. And thank you for all the advice on my sciatica. We're going to the chiropractor next. Bye-bye.